This week, I'm excited to start assembly. I finally finished painting the entire bottom of the car. Let me show you how it looks.
Garage time.
I know times are crazy right now, but the nice thing about a project like this is it stays relatively constant. You know, this week I've done a lot of work off camera because it's really the same. I've been painting on the bottom and it's the same information that I posted in a previous video about how to undercoat the seat pan area. And in addition to that, during quarantine, I've actually made a lot more videos. I've made like 16 videos all about welding. So if you're interested in learning more about welding or you're curious about it, please click this link right here. All the underside paint was applied with a roller, believe it or not. It worked really well. Coverage was great. Actually went really quick. Hey everyone, this is my son Zack.
Hi.
So school's out of session right now with quarantine and everyone's kind of going crazy. So he's out here playing guitar, entertaining himself and also me. So how long you been out of school?
About 4 weeks.
Yeah. So everyone's going a little crazy. Mom works from home, so playing guitar out here in the garage is actually really cool. And rather than just use some of that sort of YouTube music, I thought, why not just put Zack in? What song was that?
It's something I made up.
Yeah. So again, his own music, and maybe it won't be a copyright strike. Hopefully, we can do more of this. Please leave a comment. Let me know what you guys think. A little something different for the car restoration. I really like that contrast between the black and the yellow. Looks really clean to me. Hopefully it's not too difficult to keep it clean. But the nice thing about repairing the undercoating and doing it the way I did it is it should be easy to do it again. If things get dinged up or scraped or pulled apart, then I can go back with the undercoating, touch it up, and just go over it with that Rust-Oleum paint. It's obviously really inexpensive. This is the original piece. I really looked at it carefully for any play or wear in these universal joints, and it's completely solid. So I didn't need to do any rebuilding to this shaft. It's ready to go back in the car after, of course, I painted it. That steering rack is really close to the brake lines and the fuel lines, which in both cases mine are custom. So it's good to have it in position so I can route around it, but I have a feeling it might have to at least get loosened so I can get the fuel lines running through. We shall see. Okay, I also cleaned up this little guy. This is the needle bearing that goes on the steering shaft. This connects right to the steering rack that I've already rebuilt. So this rides right here on the shaft. I left this part unpainted so the needle bearing can do its thing. This was also in decent shape. I just cleaned out all the grime and dust and dirt with a toothbrush, soap and water. I blew it all out, made sure it was really clean. And then I cleaned the rubber and coated it with some silicone oil. I have this silicone oil from the RC car days. This is pure silicone oil, and it's supposed to be good for rubber. It did seem to make the rubber a lot more pliable and really rejuvenate it. So I'm going to reuse this part. The inside surfaces look really nice. There's a couple rubber seals and some felt seals in there to keep the dust out of the needle bearing. Okay, I did not paint the suspension arms or the struts or any of this stuff. I am going to be modifying these in the future, probably lowered spindles and at least removing the 74 anti-roll bar mounts and replacing them with the through the body mounts. All right, this side's done, and I can't tell you how happy I am to see this portion right here. This portion is the side that was all wrecked, and all this metal has been straightened out. It's in final paint now, and it's just a big relief to see it go together for probably the final time. You know, I'm probably going to refresh, like I said, the suspension arms, but that's at a much later date. I can drive the car with the arms as is. No worries. It's back on its tires, thank goodness. And I re-indexed these front torsion bars, so now the front ride height is much better than it was. if you've been watching this car for a while, the front end has always been really high. The torsion bars were just in the wrong position. So now it's sitting much more level like it should, even though the tire stands in the front are in the low position and in the back they're in the high position. So the car is sitting on a high rake going forward, but if I just turn the camera, then that's pretty much how it's going to be. Okay, I was going to set up the steering linkage and all the shafts, but I put this hub on here and I can tell that there's just some old grease built up in this. This is spinning, but it's not really smooth. Right now it should be really smooth because nothing is connected. That's the output shaft of the steering column, and it's not connected. It's going to have that universal joint onto that, and then it's going to head on down into the smuggler's box area where the steering rack is. You can see the steering rack is just poking through. But before I put in those linkages, I really feel like it's in my best interest to really take care of those bearings, because I want a really smooth feeling on the steering, and I feel like that is the only thing that's left untouched. It feels great to have all the underside painted and actually finished painting for a while. You know, I needed to get the tires back on this car so I could roll it in and out of the garage. Sometimes I use the space for other things, and I have a project next week that I need the space. So even though I would love to have all new suspension underneath here, it's just not practical for me to do it right this minute. I'm going to probably drive the car on the old bushings just for a little bit and then slowly upgrade as money and time permits. Stay safe, everyone. Take care.